welcome back to Blooms and Bicycles. As we bring in the month of June, Pride celebrations start in the cities across the world, and emblazoned across all street corners are rainbow flags which we take inspiration from with our rainbow collection this month. Also available throughout the rest of summer, you are able to order these whenever you like. So if, like us in Manchester, the Pride celebrations are in August, if you'd like to dress your home fittingly for the time, you can do. In today's tutorial, we'll be sharing with you how to construct the large rainbow letterbox flowers. Our water vessel is already prepared. However, if you would like to learn how to look after your flowers to get the best out of them, you can find the link in the description box below to our flower care video. To begin with, we'll start by creating the grid, and we do this by using the strongest stems. In this design, they are the salal tips, the Lancet, and the Rainbow Gypsophila, which comes in this spectacular array of ombre colours. So to begin with, we'll take the salal tips. Salal often grows with various offshoots, meaning that it has a V shape, which creates a lot of volume. That's really good for creating the structure of the grid, but what we do need to make sure is that the main stem is trimmed away relative to the size of the water vessel. So we'll just position that one here. So you'll receive two different stems of salal. So we'll just add this in to create a third point. And then we'll add our lancet. The lancet leaves are very weighted, which creates this very soft tumbling effect. So it's actually really good to work to the advantage of this characteristic by placing it towards the front of the vase, allowing it to cascade over the top. And to make sure it does cascade, we just need to trim this one down. So you can just keep checking and testing the length and trimming away as you see fit. So what we've done here is made sure that one piece of salal sits between the two lancet branches, because it's just about creating that overall balance. So next we'll take the hydrangea. The hydrangea is one of the focal point flowers. Given the size of the flower head, its weight means that it naturally sweeps, and there is a sweeping motion to the stem. And also because of the vivid colour, as well as just the beauty of a hydrangea flower overall anyway, because of the amount of flower heads on one cluster, it's always really nice to make this a focal point by placing it towards the front of the design. So we'll allow it to sweep and lean in the way that it wants by just placing it off to the side on the right. Then to counterbalance where the hydrangea is now sat, we'll take our sunflower. Again, this naturally sweeps off. They're never truly a straight stem. I think because of the weight of the flower head as they grow, it's just the way they go. But we work this to our advantage with this design, and we use it to counterbalance the hydrangea by placing it in the mirror position. Next we'll take our amaryllis. Now the amaryllis does grow very straight, which makes it a perfect focal point to position at the back and in the centre. And by doing so, we create the magic 3 triangle effect. Sometimes some of the other flower stems which you've previously arranged might slightly move. You can just leave them and let things go in their own natural way. Or if you have the time and the inclination, you can just keep adjusting them as you will. And now that the sturdiest of stems are in place, we'll take our Rainbow Gypsophila to pad out the grid. And once we've trimmed off the offshoots, we'll press these into the grid so that they sit very close to the opening of the vase. This will just add extra support for the flowers which are to come. So next we'll take our Bouvardia. The Bouvardia is naturally a very long, straight stem, so we'll use this towards the back of the design to start building out the natural fan shape by placing it off to the side of the amaryllis. So we just trim this down to the height it needs to be, and gradually weave it through the grid until it sits in a place where it's happy. So then we'll take our Veronica, and the Veronica in particular will benefit from the structure given by the lower cut flowers of Gypsophila. They're very thin and they would usually slip through the grid without the Gypsophila in. So this is why we always make sure those lower pieces of Gypsophila are in position before adding these. So to create balance, given where the Bouvardia is currently positioned, we'll use the 3 stems of Veronica to create a similar presence on the opposite side. So what you can do is hold some of the stems higher than the others, again because varying heights just offer different points of interest, and then we trim those down to the height they need to be and allow those to rest gently on the Gypsophila. And I think that's about right. So now in the back area we can see we have a void here. So that will be the perfect place for the Gentiana to go. So again, if we just trim it down to size and gently weave it through until it sits in a place where it's happy. And as you can see, we've now got a variety of different flower stems in different colours, which help create that rainbow effect. And also to help with balance and the natural look, the inky blue of the Hydrangea, which is sat at the very front off to the left, is now counterbalanced by the inky blue tones in the Gentiana, which are off to the back at the right. Finally, we'll take our Alstroemeria and we'll introduce this in this central area here to break up some of the greenery. This will also help create a triangle effect between the 3 different flower varieties which are in the pink colours. So with the Bouvardia off to the left, the Veronica's off to the right, and then the Alstroemeria will be sat in the centre. So trim that down to size. And again, just weave it through the Gypsophila and into the place in the grid where it naturally wants to sit. And just play around with the position of the leaves. So all of the leaves are shown to their full advantage in the same way that the flowers are. And as a final finishing touch, we'll take our rainbow roses to make the ultimate statement this month. Going back to the point we made earlier about the leaves and foliage offering points of interest, nothing makes that point more than with rainbow roses, because as they are dyed, the dye works its way into the leaves as much as the flower head itself, creating lots of different colours. So although with roses you are meant to take away all of the leaves, and there is reason for this, because by taking the leaves away, it ensures that all water and nutrients works its way up to the flower head. Actually, to just leave a couple of leaves which sit directly beneath the flower head really won't make too much difference, and actually will offer another focal point, given how beautiful the amethyst purple of these leaves are on one side and how aqua blue the leaves are on the other. So we'll now just dot these rainbow roses around the design to finish off, creating a loose triangle structure. And with this one, I think it would be nice to keep that tall and really take advantage of the length that these rainbow roses come with in the stem, and rest it in the grid towards the back so it's higher than anything else. Look at the contrast in the colour of those leaves, it's beautiful. And then I think this one will work really well just above the sunflower. But what we'll do, because at the moment you can see this rose is sat slightly higher than the Amaryllis, and it kind of fights with the Amaryllis for space. And we want to make sure every flower can make its own statement. So I think just taking off an inch or so from the bottom to lower the position of this flower head will allow everything to shine. So finally, to take the second piece of Rainbow Gypsophila, we'll use this to create a backdrop by adding it at the very back of the design, taking full advantage of the length that comes with it. We'll just add it in and flex the stems from the offshoots so they intermingle with the other flower varieties. And this one is leaning away from the rest of the arrangement. So if it does that, it's a sign really to trim it away and use it in a better place. So we'll just now reposition this one, making sure it still makes contact with the water in the vase. We'll make sure this vase is filled right to the top at the end. So at some point you might decide to reposition some stems as the design starts to build out. And just go ahead and do what feels right. There is no right or wrong with this, so just enjoy it. So we just fix this hydrangea leaf so it sits nicely at the bottom, as it's always nice to have things tumbling over the opening of the vase, again to help with that open burst effect. We'll just make sure the Gypsophila is nicely positioned around each of the flower heads. What's actually really nice is that the Gypsophila is almost malleable, if you will, and it knits together. If you bring two different flower heads close to one another, they'll almost attach themselves to each other, which always helps again with creating that structure. And there you have it, the Rainbow Large Letterbox Flowers. I hope you enjoy and I hope you have a lovely June.